fellow South Africans, I'm addressing you this evening.
All your years of paying tax, you helped us overcome our darkest hour. You, along with every other loyal taxpayer, helped build this nation. Thank you for every life you saved and for every risk you braved, for giving our future generation a healthy start. When you saw many of our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. Thank you for contributing to the important services our vulnerable communities rely on every day. To all taxpayers and traders, continue to pay your tax because it matters to millions of South Africans who depend on it. Your tax matters.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the companies within the food manufacturing industry, auditing firms and tax practitioners, South African colleagues and South Africans at large. Thank you for honoring our invitation and taking time out of your busy schedule for this webinar. My name is Nonjabulo Shabango, and I'm an excise auditor. I'm going to be a program director for this webinar. Before I start sharing the agenda items with you, please note the following. You'll be prompted to complete a survey questionnaire at the end of this webinar. We humbly request that you complete it and provide your honest feedback regarding this webinar, so we may be able to improve our interaction with you. If you are attending this session via your YouTube, you will not be able to post any questions. However, you may send your questions on a temporary email address, which is dieselfoodstuff@sars.gov.za. It will be active for the duration for this webinar. For those connecting via Zoom, you can use the email address as well and send your questions to the chat box as well as the question and answer section. For any queries that will arise after this webinar, the normal channels should be followed. Due to the POPI Act, please do not post any personal information when asking the questions. Our agenda items are as follows. We will start off with an opening remarks by Mr. Enoch Godongwana, followed by Mahlatsi Lidwaba, a question and answer session that will be led by Mr. Kumani Mugweri and the panel of specialists on board. And lastly, Ms. Felicity Bunene will give us the closing remarks. Mr. Enoch Godongwana is currently an executive within the Excise Division. He has over 25 years of experience at SARS and has occupied various management positions. His role includes overseeing the excise business architecture and ensuring that it aligns with the National Treasury Policy intent, SARS and other government departments' legislations and policy. Anand holds a various qualifications, including a master's degree in business administration, a postgraduate diploma in business administration, a national diploma in cost management and accounting, and a professional qualification with the Chartered Institute of Secretaries and Administrators. Mr. Anand, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon. On behalf of the SARS team, welcome to this webinar. Today, we will discuss a topic of utmost significance to our nation's food manufacturing industry. Our country is currently grappling with the electricity challenges, posing significant hurdles for various industries, including food manufacturing. In light of these pressing concerns, we convene today to discuss the Minister of Finance's announcement in this year's February budget to implement relief to the food manufacturing industry. Throughout the webinar, we will engage in productive dialogue and share insights to ensure the successful implementation of this relief. Your participation is invaluable, and I thank you for joining this webinar. Let us now delve into the agenda. Once again, welcome. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Anand, for the opening remarks. Indeed, the diesel refund will go a long way towards assisting the food manufacturing industry and consumers. Attendees, please remember to post your questions on the chat inbox on Zoom and send your emails on dieselfoodstuff@sars.gov.za. Our specialists are ready to answer your questions. Now we'll have a presentation by Mahlatsi Lidwaba, who is an expert in excise taxes. She has joined SARS in 2011 as a graduate trainee, where she had learned all the excise products and the value chains. Mahlatsi has held various positions within the excise division and currently the national specialist for the diesel refund in the product and process excise unit. She holds a Bachelor of Technology in Business Information System, a Bachelor of Technology in Financial Information System, and an advanced diploma in accounting sciences, specializing in taxation. Over to you, Ms. Lidwaba. Thank you.
Thank you, Nonjabulo, for the warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mahlatsi Lidwaba, as Nonjabulo has indicated, and I'll be taking you through the presentation. The purpose of the presentation is to provide you information that is easily understandable and to make the provision of the legislation more accessible. We focus on the following strategic intent: to make it easy and simple to comply, to provide clarity and certainty to the taxpayers, to modernize systems, to provide digital and stream online services, to work with and through stakeholders to improve the tax ecosystems. Those are the points that I'll be discussing. During the year 2000, the government implemented the current diesel refund to provide full or partial relief for the general fuel levy and road accident fund levy to primary sectors such as farming, forestry, fishing, and mining sectors. The scheme was introduced in order to encourage international competitiveness and also to reduce the burden of paying some of the duties, because some of the vehicles and equipment that are used are normally not driven on normal roads. Due to the current electricity crisis, a similar refund on the RAF levy for diesel used in the food manufacturing process was extended to the manufacturer of foodstuff. This new refund scheme came into effect as from 1st of April 2023 and will be in place for 2 years until 31st March 2025. Diesel refund for food manufacturers scheme was introduced as a tax relief to ease the impact of electricity crisis on food prices by refunding manufacturers a portion of the road accident fund levy for diesel used in the food manufacturing process. The scheme will be administered through the Excise DA66 refund system, which is a system separate from the current diesel refund scheme for primary producers administered on the VAT system. The scheme is administered under Section 75 of the Customs and Excise Act number 91 of 1964, and the applicable rebate item is item 67205 of Part 3 of Schedule number 6, Part 14 of the Customs and Excise Act. For an entity or person to claim the refund, one of the documents that are required are logbooks. What do you mean by logbooks? Are systematic written records that are regularly kept to document all activities relating to the eligibility of a refund claim. A complete audit trail of the diesel for which refund are requested must be reflected in the logbook. In the storage logbook, we want to see how the diesel has been received, how it was stored, how it was removed, disposed, or lost. In the usage logbook, we want to see how the diesel has been used. For an entity or person to claim the refund, they must have bought and used distillate fuel. Distillate fuel or biodiesel are those which are prescribed in Part 5A, which deals with the fuel levy, and Part 5B, which deals with the road accident fund levy. Diesels which are excluded are smokeless diesel, diesel which has been mixed with kerosene or any other substance, or diesel which has been entered for export or ship stores, or any diesel whereby duties or levies had not been paid. Entity or individual must have stationary fixed generators. Mobile portable generators are excluded. They must be manufacturing foodstuff. And foodstuff, they are those that are suitable for human consumption. And they are classifiable in Chapter 2 to 21 of Part 1 to Schedule number 6, and excluding making beverages, which are classifiable under Part 5, and Chapter 5, 6, 13, 14 are excluded. Manufacturer will mean execution of operations at a manufacturing facility that result in the production of foodstuff or profit, which include, but is not limited to, slaughtering of animal in an abattoir, mixing, processing, handling, convey, or packaging of foodstuff, lighting or air conditioning of such manufacturer, waste management as a result of manufacture, electricity generation for such manufacture. Items which are indicated on Note 6, Part 3, which are under for 67004 are excluded because those are administered under the VAT system. Manufacturing premises are business premises where manufacturing of foodstuff take place, and it excludes businesses where only wholesale or retail distribution take place and no manufacturing is taking place, or where there's manufacturing take place, however, there's also a retail or wholesale stores taking place there, whereby the area of the floor surface occupied it's more than 10% of the business premises. A refund is limited to 80% of the RAF levy on the diesel purchased and used for generating electricity for the manufacturing of foodstuff as defined. Tax invoice means an invoice containing those that are indicated there as per Note 14 of Schedule 6. I'll go in detail on a tax invoice later on the coming slides. Qualifying activities only manufacturer of foodstuff which are classifiable under Chapter 2 to 21 of Schedule number 1, Part 1 are qualifying, and it excludes products and preparation of making of beverages which are classifiable under Part 7, Section A. Any item listed under Chapter 5, 6, 13, and 14. And Chapter 5 deals with product of animal origin such as human or animal hair. Chapter 6 deals with live trees and any other plants like roots. Chapter 13 are the gums and other vegetable extracts. And Chapter 14 is vegetable planting material such as bamboos or oysters. Any item listed under Chapter 22 to 99 are excluded. Items like water are included in those chapters. Any process which already qualify for the refund item 67004 as indicated are excluded. For a person or entity to register and claim for this refund, they must have been registered for VAT. They need to register as a rebate user. And how do you register that? They must complete a DA185 form, as well as annex a DA185 4A3, which are available on the SARS website or any SARS office. Application must be made per person or entity, and information in respect of each manufacturing premises must be supplied separately on an addendum attached to the DA185 for A3. A completed application must be submitted digitally using the SARS online queries system, we call it SOX, which will be available live from the 26th of September 2023. Approved registration will be effective from 1st of April 2023 as the day that the user became eligible for claiming the refunds. Application will be approved based on the submission made by the applicant, whereby the applicant submit an extra D185 for A3 and the items which are indicated are not those listed under Chapter 2 to 21, then the application will be rejected. Where the user is found to be non-qualifying after an audit is conducted by SARS, their registration will be cancelled. All documents referred to on paragraph 14 of D185 application must be submitted. Those documents include items like the ID copies, the proof of registration, proof of banking details. They are all indicated under paragraph 14 of the D185. We also require a detailed floor plan according to the scale for all the buildings on the premises, which indicates the purpose and use of all areas therein. Where the entity owns multiple manufacturing facilities, information in respect of each manufacturing premises must be furnished separately for each premises on an addendum which must be attached to the form D185-4A3. We also require details of the generators and equipment used in the in the food manufacturing process. We also require the Department of Trade and Industry permit, if applicable. Claiming the refund. Refund or levy shall be considered only when the refund user and the manufacturing premises are registered. So from the 26th of September, when you submit an application, you cannot submit with the claim. You need to wait for the approval letter from the Licensing and Registration Division. A claim for a refund must be submitted on a D66 form per monthly period, accompanied by the necessary supporting documents at the SARS excise office nearest to the manufacturing premises. Refund can only be claimed for duty paid diesel that was purchased and used in South Africa. Any diesel purchase shall be deemed to have been used in order of the date of such purchases. Any return for a diesel refund claim must be submitted within 2 years from the date of purchase and use of the diesel. Refund claim must be allocated to the month of actual usage, even if claimed at a later stage. We do not have any intervals or categories as to when a refund must be claimed. You can submit at any date or any month. Let's say you bought diesel, 1,000 diesel liters during April and you fully use it in May. The D66 that you submit will be for period May. You can submit it at any month. Here is an example on how liters will be calculated. ABC Limited, they're in the manufacturing, they're manufacturing foodstuff which qualify. They bought 1,000 liters during April, and in May they bought 500 liters. During April, the 1,000 liters was fully used during April, and in May, the 500 liters were fully used in May. So they will submit 2 DA66, one for April and one for May. And the rebate, the RAF is 218. As per the note 14, it's only 80% of the 218. The refund that they will obtain, that they will receive for April, it will be 1,744, and for May, 872. Users must also note that the RAF may change when the minister may announce a refund to be increased. Let's say the 1,000 liters that was bought in April and you fully used it in May, and the minister during May announced a rate to change to 3 rand. When you submit for period May, you cannot claim at the rate of 218. You cannot claim at the rate of 3 rand. You'll claim at the rate of 218 because you bought it at the 218 rate. Supporting documents. We require storage logbook, usage logbook, delivery notes, as well as purchase invoices. The storage logbook indicates the capacity of the tank. We also need to see the date and quantities of diesel received, removed, disposed, or lost from the tank, details of the machinery or equipment into which the diesel was dispensed, the purpose of the removal or details of the disposal or loss, the monthly opening and closing balances. If an entity has more than one storage tank, each storage logbook, each tank must have its own storage logbook. The usage logbook must indicate the tank from which the diesel was received, the date of the receipt, serial number or identifying marking of the machinery or equipment, manufacturer specification of the machinery or equipment, diesel or power usage rate of the machinery or equipment, function in place of such machinery or equipment in an overall process flow, any other incident or fact and observation relevant to the measurement of the diesel usage. This is an example of a tax invoice. In a tax invoice, we need to see the address and the VAT number of the supplier. We want to see the description indicating diesel. We want to see the quantity being 1,000 liters, example, and the unit price, the subtotal. We also want to see the VAT, which is 0 levied. We also want to see the address as well as the VAT number of the purchaser. We also want to see the invoice number and, very important, the date of the transaction. Each invoice used to prove the purchase of diesel must meet the requirement of tax invoice as indicated on note 14. Invoices that have been tampered with will not be accepted. If original invoice is not available, a copy can be supplied. However, it needs to clearly indicate that it's a copy. In a facility where diesel is used to power multiple machinery or equipment used for both the manufacture of foodstuff and non-foodstuff, a portion of volume of diesel based on the ratio used for the manufacture of foodstuff relative to the overall diesel usage. Where the volume of diesel used in any activity cannot with reasonable certainty be gauged, the volume used must be determined based on the average rate of diesel consumption of the equipment concerned over the total time period of the usage thereof. Remember to always keep the books account or any other document that will support your claim. A loss or sale may occur whereby a diesel has been sold. We require a valid tax invoice. Whereby a diesel has been lost, records must be there because those transactions form part of non-claimable usage. Fuel may be lost through accident, theft, or any other reason. Records that we need to be kept whereby a diesel has been lost must indicate the date of the loss, where the loss occurred, and the circumstances surrounding the incident, the quantity of diesel lost and how the quantity was calculated, a copy of the police report where appropriate, or insurance claim detail can provide the information necessary to substantiate the particular of the loss. Further records that must be kept include area of the manufacturing premises where the activity takes place, details of the activity and the applicable stage in the manufacturing process flow, the ratio of the usage of the diesel used for the qualifying activity relative to the total diesel used, records showing the quantity of diesel used for each refund claim, how it was calculated. Where the user qualifies for diesel refund for foodstuff manufacturer, as well as the diesel which is under rebate 67204, they need to keep separate logbooks. All books, account, and record must be kept for a period of 5 years. SARS reserves the right to subject any refund claim to an audit and may undertake a full audit and request further information to substantiate the refund claim. Assessment will be issued if a person has claimed a refund of levies which he is not entitled to. Therefore, a commissioner will issue an assessment. Whereby a refund has been claimed and the user is not satisfied with the results that the refund has been rejected, they may request reasons within 30 days from the date that the letter of decision was sent, or they may send an appeal on a DA51 within 30 days from the letter of the decision. If still they are not happy with the outcome of the appeal, they may apply for alternative dispute resolution, the ADR. And how do they apply that? They need to complete a DA52. The application will be considered by the commission, by the ADR committee, and the appellant will therefore be notified of the outcome. Instances where deregistration may take place, it's where a registrant has stopped trading, the registrant has disposed of the eligible enterprise, there is a change in trade activity to a non-qualifying activity, or the entity did not qualify for the diesel refund in food manufacturing scheme because they're performing non-qualifying activities. We are available on social media, and you may reach us through LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or you may call our contact center. Thank you. Over to you, Nonjabulo.
Thank you, Mahlatsi, for the informative presentation. To emphasize, the registration will go live on our SARS online query system on our website from the 26th of September 2023. Once the registration is approved, the refunds can be backdated from the 1st of April 2023. We'll now move over to the question and answer session that will be facilitated by Mr. Gumani Mogweri, supported by the panel of specialists. Over to you, Mr. Mogweri. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nonjabulo, and thank you very much to Mahlatsi for a comprehensive presentation that covers anything from licensing and registration to compliance and the rest of other service inquiries that you may have. We will now proceed to deal with the questions that you have been posing to us on the Q&A. And I will now invite the panel of experts who will come in on board to actually deal with all your questions. In the event that you feel that the questions that you have posed have not been fully addressed, we invite you to just forward to us your email address, and our officials will get in touch with you and understand the query specific matter and deal with that. That is especially if you feel that you've got confidential and personal info that you don't really want to preempt here on the webinar. My colleagues on the floor is Tewo Mukwena, Samuel Musala, Judith Nsucha, Wongani, Komombini, as well as Spiwe. These colleagues will cover everything from licensing and registration to refunds, compliance issues, matters relating to levies, and as well as matters pertaining to fuel products and all other related matters. We have received a few questions. Some we have already started answering on the charts, but however, we will go through these questions. And we encourage everybody else to continue dropping the text so that we can ensure that we address all your queries. We do have a query from Verna Bukes around, and the query says, the D185 4A3 includes a section in the yield calculation, production volume divided by diesel usage. They say as an assumption. And the question is this required for the diesel rebate foodstuffs manufacture? I will ask Devo to look into that question. However, before he looks into that question, there is also a question here that it's a follow-up question from Verna, and it says, if there is a small admin office that pulls on the same electricity grid as the manufacturing machines and premises, do we need to apportion the diesel usage based on the kilowatt used by the admin office in relation to the manufacturing portion of the building? Is it apportioned on the floor space? If we use the kilowatts used, can we use an annual average to do the pro rata split, or should it be recalculated every month based on that month usage? If it is the latter, it is very onerous. So after Tewo deals with the first question, we'll then proceed to deal with the second question, which will then be taken care of by Simpiwe. Up to you, Tewo.
Thank you, Mukiri. So with regards to the DA form, the annexure to the D185 form. So at that part, the clients are expected to, yes, indicate the usage with their production. So do a proportionment. This will be used as a basis as part of their registration. So they can use what they used in the previous year to calculate their production against the expected diesel usage. So yes, the trader is correct there to say they will have to do a unveiled analysis of their production against the diesel which they expect to use in the 12-month period. And Mugeri, to even expand on the following question before I hand over to Simpiwe regarding the office spaces. So incidental buildings to the manufacturing process, such as canteens, office spaces, showers, and such so forth, will be allowed to form part of the premises itself if they also pull from the same facility. Then I can hand over to Simpiwe to expand. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Spiwe.
Thank you, Mr. Mugeri. I think Tebogo has covered it, but just to expand a little bit, the note 14 to schedule 6 part 3 specifically states that if you have food manufacturing facilities, if you have other activities that are not part of the food manufacturing activities, you have to apportion the usage of diesel as such, because you can only claim it for food manufacturing activities. But if you've got other activities in the same premises, the diesel usage has to be apportioned as such as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spiwe, for the clarity. And we'll take the other 2 questions as follows. And this one is coming from Grace Townsend. Grace Townsend is asking if a practitioner can submit a DA66 form on behalf of the business at the excise office, or will it have to be the business owner? While I request Judith to react to this question, there is also another question from Anonymous. Anonymous is asking if the animal feed qualify under the definition of foodstuff, and if the animal feed can claim the rebate. So Judith, while you react to that question, you may as well look into the question from Anonymous. But the colleagues, you can also take the floor to react to the 2 questions posed by our participants.
Yes, Chair, Mr. Gary, I can go in there. The products that qualify for this refund are specified without going to specific details, but in terms of classification in chapter 2 to 21, and the notes to the schedule 6 part 3 and a note 14, they specifically states which chapters are excluded. But all those that are classified from chapters 2 to 21, they qualify, taking into account the exclusion as noted in the note 14. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Judith, you want to expand?
No, I just wanted to come in on the first part of the question, the use of practitioners. That is allowed. However, the refund itself will be paid to the applicant. So in terms of making use of a practitioner to submit your refund, that is acceptable. However, the refund itself will be paid to the user of the diesel and the owner of that refund. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the clarity. Some of the questions are asking if the presentation will be made available. I can confirm that the video of this webinar will be made available on YouTube, as well as the presentation also, it will be published on the SARS website. There's a question from Fiat van der Merwe, which I'll ask Samuel to respond to. And the question is, would it still be necessary? The question has just gone missing. Samuel, if you can get to the floor and react to the question from Fiat van der Merwe.
Thank you very much, GM. And also our lovely traders that are online. The reason, GM, why you don't see the question anymore is because it's already been answered. That's why it moved to the answer.
Correct.
So we have been attending to that, but for record purposes, I'll clarify on that specific answer. So, and it was a very interesting question which was asked. So yes, Triad, there's no need for you to attach that particular annexure which you were referring to, which is a DA 185C, because that one you attach it when you're going to lodge a bond already. In this regard, there won't be a need for that. Because as at SARS, we provide clarity and certainty. Just take note that we have made it easy for you to comply, and the application should be finalized within 5 working days if all the documentations that are provided are in order. But take note as well, I've seen GM that Verna also asked quite a handful question. If you allow me and permit me to also deal with that through you, GM.
Proceed.
The application, as my colleague Matlati has indicated, applications will be submitted through the SARS online query query system, which we call the SOC, from the 26th of September. So that's how the application will be submitted. So thank you very much, GM. I'm still around for any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The question further to this from Yapi van Veek talks about automated drawbacks that will be implemented on the 18th of September, and is asking if they will be able to submit these claims on e-filing. This is one question from Yapi. We'll look also into the other question. Paul Theron is asking if we'll consider extending to other manufacturing industries, especially the clothing sector. There was also another question from that also talks about those who are in the production of other beverages, to say why are they not included in this. And I'll ask Wongani to take one of the questions with regards to what I've just referred now. Especially
Thank
the
you,
question
Jim.
from Paul that says, will we consider extending to other manufacturing sectors? Debo?
Okay, I was going to take the question regarding the automated system, which is going live on the 18th. So at this stage, we're busy with the developments to also include these refunds into the system. However, during the first phase of submissions, when we implement, they will still be using the D66 forms. However, within a short space of time, we'll have incorporated them in the new system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Wongani, did you want to further react to the question or the other matter?
Yes, thank you, Chair. On the other matter of whether the scheme will be extended to other manufacturers, I can just mention that the National Treasury decides on the policy, and SARS's role is just to implement and administer the policy that is being decided on by National Treasury. So SARS doesn't make policy decisions. Those decisions are made by the National Treasury. Thank you.
Thank you. While I invite Mahlazi to also come to the floor, there's a question from Fatima. And Fatima is asking if they do need to use SARS logbook templates previously made available, or can a taxpayer use their own template? This is a question from Fatima. As Mahlazi takes the floor, there is also a question from Larissa, and it says, will SARS be sharing an example of a logbook, seeing that this has always been a contentious issue? Mahlazi, if you can react to the two questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mugari. We do not have a prescribed logbooks for storage and usage logbook for this new diesel. The one that are on the system, which are on the website, it's for the old diesel refund, which is for item 67204. The reason for this, why we don't have the prescribed for the diesel on food manufacturer, is we noted each industry, it's different and they keep records differently. So we don't want to prescribe them to say this is how it need to be. So anyone can use their own method as long as those those items which are listed on note 14 are they on their logbook. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahlazi. And we appreciate the more engagement that we are getting from our stakeholders. Mari van Dijk is asking, and Judith, you might want to react to this one. Mari is asking, where can we find out where the closest customs office is to the manufacturing site? Do we submit each site separately, or can we submit all sites in the same legal entity together on one return at one office?
Thank you, Mr. Nkhumane. I will take that one. So the application form for registration, you can submit as an entity and includes the addendum of that entity facility in that one application. However, the refund claim itself has to be submitted at the area which is the closest site office closest to your manufacturing premises. And the areas will be published on our webpage under the food manufacturing space. Thank you.
Tebo, while you're on the floor, you dealt with a question that asks if the admin space for the office that uses the same generator can be part of the claim. There's a question from Lizanne van der Walt. But in this case, Lizanne is asking if we have various manufacturing buildings, but also an admin building. Can the diesel for generator used for the admin building be also included in the refund claim? If you can just clarify that, and then we can proceed to other questions.
Thank you, Mr. GM. So the admin building will also usually be regarded as the office space as well. So as indicated, it will be looked into the incidental part of it, how big the admin building is. And as I indicated earlier, things like canteens, labs, engineering buildings are usually incidental to the manufacturing process as well. So as such, it will not be a need for it to be reapportioned. Apportionment usually begins when there's other non-food items being manufactured in that facility, or the usage of the other office space or admin space. It's very much significant in the usage of the overall diesel. Thank you.
Wongani, you did make reference in your earlier remarks about the determination by Treasury in terms of who may and who may not participate in this scheme. Nico Smith is asking, and I just clarify if the same response applies. Nico Smith is asking, why is this rebate not extended to retailers such as Pick and Pay, Checkers, and other retailers needing to generate electricity for the storage of foodstuff, since also have an impact on the price of foodstuff? Are you able to provide clarity on that one?
Maybe I can just comment, Chair, and my colleagues can clarify further. So the purpose of this scheme was to provide relief to the manufacturers of foodstuff. Right. So it didn't cover the storage. It only applies to the manufacturers. Therefore, you are correct in saying that if such a decision is made, that will be to extend it to those retailers. That will be the decision that will be made by National Treasury. So if there is a suggestion to extend it to such, I think such an application should be made to National Treasury for consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The other two questions, one coming from Karen Human, and it says the act indicated from April 1, 2023. However, registration only opens now in September. Once registered, they will be able to claim holistically from April 2023 or only from a registered date. If we can clarify that part in terms of eligibility of date to start claims. And while we clarify that, there's another matter from Martin Baker, which says if the food manufacturer is required to uplift raw material, and it says milk, for example, from the farmers, will the diesel cost of inward raw material transport qualify for rebate? Can we look into the question in terms of days for eligibility? Is it a registration date or the date as pronounced by the Act, as well as the diesel for incurred in transportation of materials?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mugeri. I'll take that question. So with regards to when you can start claiming from, so as we Samuel indicated that the registration will be backdated to 1 April, and as such, you can start claiming for diesel you purchased and used from 1 April 2023, once your registration is approved by the registration team. And with regards to the diesel usage from uplifting of raw material, the scheme is for the premises of manufacturing only. So anything which happens outside the premises is not allowed. So only the manufacturing generation of electricity in the manufacturing premises, the diesel used for that purpose is allowed to be claimed for the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you. And Samuel, you may want to clarify a concern from Anonymous, who's saying they've got 20 manufacturing sites across the country, and they say submitting for each office is quite a massive task. And the question is, can the claim be submitted online? If so, where on e-filing?
Okay.
Thank you very much, GM. As much as I would like to answer that one, I will have to pass it to my fellow colleagues in terms of for them to go deeper into the return part of it. They will answer on that specific aspect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel. And maybe as Mabitabo takes the floor, covered also the issue around manual submissions and online submissions, and whether clients are able to cluster different offices into one submission on e-filing. I think that's the context that I have seen quite three or four questions trying to cover that.
Okay, thank you. So with regards to I'll start with the multiple facilities first and manual claiming. So for the manual process where you'll be submitting the D66 form at the excise office, as indicated, it has to be done manually at the excise office nearest to your manufacturing facility. And with the e-filing process, as I indicated in my earlier answer, we at this point will be going automated on the refund space on the 18th. However, this scheme won't be part of it at Go Live, but shortly thereafter we'll incorporate it into that new system. And that new system is available on e-filing, and clients and traders can use that process for claiming this refund scheme. But that will happen at a later stage, not on Go Live of the new system going live for refunds, but just shortly afterwards we'll incorporate this new scheme into it. Thank you.
Okay. And there are questions that are coming. Some of them are with regards to the timeline that it takes for the registration process to take effect. Some they say in the experience it takes months, and the process is extremely slow. How do we respond to the issue of timelines? You may want to highlight as well some of the causes for delays in the process. For example, the accuracy of submission in the submission of documents, correct selection of the right blockers in the forms, and so on. If you can share with us experiences from the licensing and registration team, it will help enlighten the the stakeholders out there.
Thank you very much, GM. There was one question that I've already responded in terms of the days. So the days, it will take 5 days for us to process the application and issue the approval. However, it should be noted that most of the delays are caused by the documents. You find that the documents are not in order, or some of the documents are missing, or some of the information is not readable, and therefore now it's extending by virtue of following up and inquiring. And also the response back, sometimes it delays, but if all is in order, it should be done in 5 days, GM. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. I think we are nearing closer to our session, but there are a few questions I want us to address. Some of the pertinent issues that I see coming is there's still a need for clarity in terms of the documentation, the invoices, the qualification criteria of documentation, that supporting documentation that needs to be attached. I think the presentation will clarify that once it's made available. But I think in conclusion, we will try and also sum up around that. There is an important question coming from Martin Chifarimba, who is saying they import these companies involved in buying unprocessed teas from Malawi, Zimbabwe, Brazil, and other countries. When teas are imported from certain countries, they outsource trucks to bring in tea, which we will process, or which they will process and repack before putting into the local market. And he's not sure whether he does qualify for a diesel refund. So the activity involved here is they outsource trucks for delivery, and then they do the processing and packaging of the teas before distributing into the market. If we can clarify that for Martin.
Okay, thank you, Mkwere. I will take that one. When it comes to what qualifies as manufacturing process, as Mahlatsi indicated earlier, the packaging part of it, if you bring goods which qualify as defined in Note 14 as foodstuff, and you bring them in bulk and you repackage them in a facility, that facility, if it meets all the requirements and everything as per the rules in Note 14, then you will be qualifying as a process of manufacture. But the trader could really look into what qualifies as the process of manufacturing Note 14. But repackaging of goods which qualifies foodstuffs does qualify for the purpose of the scheme. But the process and the diesel only used as indicated earlier in the premises itself, not the transportation and uplifting and so forth.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we are now wrapping up. We have some of the questions, we did not deal with them directly because they were answered as we were answering some of the previous questions. But if you do feel that there are some matters that you require us to give stronger emphasis, you can get in touch with us on the contacts details provided by Mahlatsi earlier in the presentation. We will repeat those contact details so that you can get in touch with us, and then we'll be able to deal with those. I would like to allow Mahlatsi to come back and wrap up to make emphasis on some of the issues that she feels that we probably did not address, that if she wants to make emphasis, Mahlatsi, you can come to the floor. And to my colleagues, if there's anything before Mahlatsi takes the floor, if there's anything that you really want to make strong emphasis, the floor is open, and then we can proceed towards closure.
Thank you, GM. Let me just chip in there before Mahlatsi comes in. We should also confirm to the traders that we will answer all questions even after the the webinar is urgent, will attend to these questions and provide clarity and certainty. As SARS, we are priding ourselves to work with internal and external stakeholders and make sure that we assist and make it easy for trade to meet their obligations. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel.
Okay. Mokeri, to expand on what Samuel has indicated, to close off, we will be publishing a guide which will answer most of the questions the traders have put through to us, and the guide will already guide traders on what they need to do and everything they have to do in order for them to comply, so that we keep off on our objective of making sure that it's easier for clients to comply. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Mahlatsi.
Thank you, Mr. Mokari. I just want to emphasize on the question which was asked regarding whether diesel will be allowed for generators which are used in farming, dairy farming. There was a question which was raised.
Yes.
If you're in a farming industry, remember currently that you can claim for diesel refund. And when you use generators, that it's allowed as per note 6H of the Customs and Excise Act. So that is already included in the old diesel refund for rebate item 67204. Thank you. And that one, it's for VAT system, not through the DA66. Thanks.
Thank you very much to all the questions. We tried to answer 26 questions on the charts, and 78 questions came through that we tried to answer verbally. Some of the questions we answered them, we clustered them to try and give a comprehensive response. We will endeavor to get back to you on the more questions where you have provided us your specific contents. And from me to you, thank you very much. And I hand over back to Nonjabulo to take us through the next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mogweri, for facilitating the session and providing clarity for the attendees' questions. Please be on the lookout of the frequently asked questions that will be posted on our SARS website. Should you have any further questions, please reach out on our COTSA Center or interact with us on our social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember that this webinar and the other videos will be available on the SARS TV and on SARS TV on YouTube. Lastly, we'll have our closing remarks from Ms. Felicity Gunene. She is currently a senior manager within the Excise Division. With over 16 years of experience in SARS, during her tenure, she has occupied various roles, including managing audit and compliance risk teams. In 2009, Thandi received the Commissioner's Award for her ethics and living the SARS values. She holds a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Free State, a higher diploma in tax from the Thomas Jefferson School of Law in association with the International Institute of Taxation and Finance, a postgraduate with a certificate of mining and tax law, and a master's of commercial taxation thesis which focus on the tax exemption for the public benefit organization. It has been a pleasure being your program director. Over to you, Ms. Gunene. Good night.
Thank you, Program Director, and a good evening to all of you. We have now reached the conclusion of our webinar. Allow me to express my appreciation to the SARS team for making this webinar possible. And I would also like to thank the participants for tuning in and making valuable contribution through the questions that we have received on the chat box and on the emails. As you would have seen, there's been many questions that have come through, which is to be expected with the implementation of a new refund scheme. On behalf of the organization, I would like to convey my gratitude to the companies within the food manufacturing sector who opened up their doors for our SARS officials to conduct industry studies for the implementation of this refund scheme. It is much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that from the engagements that we've had on the question and answer session, you have gained valuable knowledge and insight into how the scheme will be administered. As GM has indicated, if there's any other questions that we have not answered on the Q&A sessions, we will endeavor to answer those and clarify in the material that we'll put out on our website. Webinars such as this are a platform that SARS uses in order to ensure that we pursue our strategic objectives of providing clarity and certainty to you, in order to enable maximum compliance to your tax obligations and making it easy for you to comply to the legislation. There will be also videos on how to complete the forms that have been indicated in the presentation that we will make available on our website, the DA 185 and the DA 66. We have made videos, we will be making videos available so that you will be guided through that. Because we value your feedback, please do assist and complete the questionnaire that we have put out. This will enable us to make any improvements that we need to in order to make sure that our delivery to you is up to a high standard and allow you as well to make any suggestions for future webinars. We urge you also to subscribe to our SARS TV channel on YouTube so that you can access such materials. Also turn on your notifications so that you never have to miss out on our educational webinars and any other updates that we put out. In closing, I would like to leave you with a quote from Jeff Bezos that says that the best customer service is where the customer doesn't need to talk to you, doesn't need to call you, it just works. This is the kind of service that we strive at SARS to provide to you, our taxpayers and traders. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a lovely evening further. Hi, Bekotso.
All your years of paying tax, thank you for every life you saved and every risk you braved. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. When you saw our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. To all taxpayers and traders, thank you. Continue to pay your tax. Your tax matters.